This is round 3 of matches in the Premier League. Of course, it all started off with City thrashing Arsenal by 5-0. Meanwhile, Liverpool won, Chelsea won at Anfield on Sunday. Tottenham continued their perfect start to the season with a 1-0 victory over Watford. United, meanwhile, leaving it late against Wolves, but took all 3 points. Don's here as well, as promised. Got some quick fire questions here from our producer who's trying to impress Don. How much longer does Arteta have at Arsenal?
1 game.
Wow.
Next game, Norwich.
That's it.
I think so, mate. I think if he loses that one, it will be very, very hard for himself to try and convince the fans that he's going to be the man. They've got 2 games coming up. They've got Norwich and Burnley. I mean, surely he has to take 4 at least out of those 6 points.
Arteta's big apologist, though, is shaking his head. Jules?
I think he will have a bit more, not much more, but more than just the Norwich game.
I think is that the producer come up with that?
Yeah, he's giving me a list of questions
That's
here.
all he come up with?
Yeah, that's it.
He knew he was doing this gig for probably 7 days, maybe a bit longer, and he's come up with what? Look over there, 4 questions.
Yeah, that's it. That's what he's contributed.
I think if he's not picked it up, and then the Tottenham game's a disaster,
right,
we might not be far away. I mean, if you were to pick up 1 point from the 2 games before, I can't remember who they were, Burley and Norwich.
Yeah.
If you want to pick up at least 4 points there, and then
at least
to lose to Tottenham, you're in a terrible position. That we're now talking, So
how much of a shambles is this?
Yeah, but it's not all his doing. But there's no doubt his inexperience is showing. But this is an issue with. This for me is a long-standing issue. It's not something that's just popped up. So it's been steeping in this mediocrity for a while, and they're trying to put like a hot flannel on it. Recruitment, who they've recruited, kind of players they've recruited, the positions they've recruited in, and then on top of that, they've had some injuries, and on top of that, they have an inexperienced manager. So when you put all those in the melting pot, what you get is a side that's just completely miles off where this club wants and should be.
The thing is, Case, sack Arteta tomorrow. Who wants this?
Well, that's the question mark, and to me, it goes back, several years ago when you had that attitude change of winning the league to celebrating 4th place like you won the league,
right?
And then from there, it can only go down, and it's amazing for. Those of us who played against that Invincibles team and what that club was doing to now, it's going to be a very interesting route how they come forward, because they did spend some decent money this summer. So it's not as if it's, all right, we're just budgeting and we're not going to do this, but there's been a lot of mistakes.
Well,
and how do you rectify
I look at
those
the recruitment of the likes of Leicester City. Right. Now, one of the managers that would be touted and has been is Brendan Rodgers, a replacement for quite a few when they're struggling. But he seems happy at Leicester. And why
he
would
also said he wasn't interested in Tottenham as well. So,
and why would you make that jump?
In better shape than Arsenal.
And listen, there might be a time when you want to make that jump, particularly to Arsenal. But I don't think it's now. But I mean, you look at the recruitment. You look at the players they've gone out and recruited. They brought in Johnny Evans at a time when Man City wanted him. They brought in Soyuncu, who's been excellent for the most part, Wesley Fofana. They went out and bought one of the most supremely talented young fullbacks in the lower divisions, in James Justin, who, if not injured, would have probably have been close, if not in the England squad, because he can play both fullback positions. They went out previously with N'Golo Kante. He's obviously the big one. You can throw Maddison in there, who was playing his football at one time for Aberdeen.
Well, you pick a Jamie Vardy
and Wilfred
out of the lower
Ndidi.
leagues,
All these,
right?
most of these players would walk into the Arsenal team, yet the recruitment at Leicester City has been good enough to have them at least in the mix for big parts of the season, and certainly fighting for the Champions League spots, and have won an FA Cup. I know Arteta won
but not only that, go back to Leicester, where we all thought when the unthinkable happened and they went 4,000 to 1 to win the league, and they win the league. Then what did we all think? That it was just going to disintegrate from there. Yeah. It couldn't continue on. You'd have, players like, Wes Morgan get older and they wouldn't be able to replace it. And it was just this anomaly. But then to continue just to stay in the conversation. win the FA Cup, be part of challenging for Champions League spots. It's been remarkable.
How do we turn this into a Leicester love fest, Kasey?
Yes.
One last point on this, Jules. When you take a look at it, and Craig said they've spent money, why spend £40 million on a reserve goalkeeper, considering all the other problems you have on your squad? This seems a massive head-scratcher.
Yes, it's a fair question, and we will see through the season if it was a mistake to sign Ramsdale or not, if it was a mistake to sell Emi Martinez the summer before that, and then replacing him by Ramsdale. They obviously signed him because there's a lot of things that they liked about him, and it might be the right signing. It might pay off, and he might have a really good season as a number one with the personality, with the ball at his feet, which they think is better than Leno, for example. So there's a lot of things. They don't just spend 40 million on someone. They just close their eyes and go, who can we get? Oh yeah, Ramsdale from Sheffield United. It doesn't work like this. So they've scouted him a lot. They obviously made all their due diligence, and then we will have to see if it works out or not. But which is true, and Craig mentioned it. There's a lot of transfers, unfortunately for them, that haven't worked out. So this one might well not work out too. But they need to rebuild this squad. They need transition. They need new players. Julien, it seems like they will get him off the book, which they could be lucky with, because a lot of players like Julien would have stayed, only train, not play, not be involved, but take the money. He decided not to, which is a good thing for them. But that was a mistake as well from the past. So there's still so much work to be done. Whether Arteta is the manager or not, I think that the issues and the work to be done goes way beyond him.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.